So a poll came out this week that the media kind of misconstrued to the American public because they really only wanted everybody to focus on one part of the poll. Now, this poll was conducted by ABC News and Ipsos. And so when ABC News published the poll, they did it with the headline, "Overwhelming majority of Americans think Biden is too old for another term. Poll." So based on their headline alone, which is how they announced the results of this poll, you would think a majority of Americans only think Biden is too old to be president. But the poll also found that a vast majority of American voters also think Donald Trump is too old to be president. But ABC News committed journalistic malpractice by making you think that the poll only found voters think Biden is too old. They also committed a bit of journalistic malpractice by burying the lead. Because we get it. Polls have already shown us that voters think both people are too old. That's not uncommon, and it sure as hell isn't news. What is news, and I'll tell you the reason why ABC News didn't want to highlight this part, is a little noticed part of this poll. Americans find there is blame to go around on Congress's failure to pass legislation intended to decrease the number of illegal crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border, with about the same number blaming the Republicans in Congress, 53%, the Democrats, 51%, and Biden, 49%. Fewer, 39%, blame Trump. 39% say Trump is to blame for that border deal, that bipartisan immigration deal that was killed last week by Republicans. 51% blame the Democrats, 49% blame Biden. Only 39% blame Trump. Trump has actively gone out there and taken credit for doing this. Republicans in Congress have said Trump wants us to kill it, so we will kill it. Republicans in Congress have gone out there and taken credit for killing this bill. It should be 100% of the public blames the Republicans and 100% of the public blames Donald Trump. But instead, most people blame it on the Democrats and Biden combined. That is a failure of the United States media, starting with ABC News, and that's why that wasn't their headline. If the media were honest, instead of always doing their both sidesism, Democrats and Republicans are virtually indistinguishable. I want to smack y'all across the face when you say shit like that. They're not indistinguishable. This particular piece of legislation was 100% dead because of 100% of Republicans. They're the ones who did this. They're the ones who allowed Trump to bully them into doing it. And if the media is not reporting that, then of course the public's going to think the Democrats are to blame. There is no excuse at all for those numbers not being 100% blame Republicans. Other than media, including ABC News, is not telling the full story, and they're not even caring that people don't know the truth. There was a time in this country, long before my time, by the way, when the media actually cared about telling the real story. When you had real journalists. And the anchors of these news programs were actual journalists. Now it's people who go into broadcasting. Oh, I don't need to know how to research my own stories. All I need to know is how to read off a teleprompter. And I've got somebody smarter than me behind the stage typing in what goes on the teleprompter. And those people have agendas, but I don't care. I won't even catch it as I read off my teleprompter. This, as we've said ever since the beginning of Ring of Fire, 20 years ago now, the media, the corporate controlled media, has made us all dumber. The media is dead. There's no journalists, and they don't even care about giving you the truth. These numbers in this poll represent a failure of the American media. And that's why ABC News chose to bury the lead on this story. Well, folks, we have crossed that 1 million subscriber milestone, but rest assured, we are just getting started here at Ring of Fire. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to like, share, and comment on the videos.